Hello and good morning to my 1,730 YouTube channel subscribers. Hope you guys are having a nice day. I'm walking to church. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. Just had to jump across a big, huge mud puddle. Made it safely. And so this morning, I would like to talk to you guys about the Nintendo NES top loader versus the original NES Nintendo console. Now, the original toaster VCR type console for the Nintendo was released in 1985, and it came out in December of 1985. And I believe in December of 1985, for Christmas, I was 9 years old, and pretty sure my parents got me the Nintendo. If it wasn't in 1985, then it was in 1986, but it was either like right when it first came out or the year after. Can't remember. So I had experience playing the original Nintendo NES console, uh, and um, and I remember getting it brand new out the box. I opened it up and putting the cartridge in, and the game worked just fine, and didn't have any problems. But after you had the Nintendo for a year or so, the cartridges stopped working as you would like them to, and you kind of had to like blow in the cartridge, blow in the thing because it was a dust buildup, and to get the games to work, you had to really play with the games and to get it to work. And then the Super Nintendo came out at around, uh, let's see, I think it was about 19. Let's see if the Nintendo came out in 85. I believe the Super Nintendo came out in like 1992, I believe. And so when the Super Nintendo came out, I went ahead and upgraded and got the Super Nintendo. And however, what I didn't know that before the Super Nintendo was released in 1992, about I think it might have came out at the same time. The original Nintendo, they released a top loading console for the Nintendo, which I never knew about that until about 6 months ago. When I was, or actually, I would say about 2 months ago, when my new NES Nintendo journey began. I had no idea that the Nintendo top loading console even existed. Okay, so that brings you from 1985 to 1992 to now to 2025 with my Nintendo NES experiences. So about 2 months ago, my girlfriend and I, we had a PlayStation 5, a PS5, and however, but I sit in my closet for a couple months. I never played the PlayStation. I only had one game on the PlayStation, and that was MLB The Show. And I didn't even upgrade to this year's version because it was like $80, and I wasn't even really playing it. It just sat in my closet, and so we decided to sell my PlayStation 5 for $350, and we wanted us to play the original Nintendo. And so that's when my Nintendo experiences came back in 2025, all the way from 1985 from my first experience. So it was about 40 years of time length between my first Nintendo in 1985 and then purchasing my second Nintendo in 2025. And so our first Nintendo that we looked at, we went into a pawn shop and they had one for $70. And we was gonna buy it, and we tested it for a few minutes, and it kept crashing, and but however, I did get to play Super Mario Brothers 3 for 2 minutes, and just hearing the sounds and jumping, it was so much fun. It was way more fun than the PS5. So I was like, definitely want a Nintendo, but I want a reliable Nintendo. That's what I learned from my first experience in 2025 with a Nintendo was I wanted a good, reliable, working Nintendo. And so we went on eBay and we looked at all the Nintendo consoles on there, and they ranged from about $150 to $250. And so we found this one Nintendo where the guy said it was guaranteed to work, and we bought it. It came with a couple games, and I think we paid $140 for it. So he mailed that system to me I plugged it in, and it had the red light of death where it blinked on and off. It didn't work at all. So we had to mail that back. Then we bought another system for the highest price one we found was like $250. We bought that one, and they sent that to us. And that's the one we're using now that now we're about to return that one. And but when you put the Nintendo actually works. However, when you put the game cartridge in, it's super hard to get the game cartridge out. It's like stuck in there. And so we fear, over the next couple of months that we're going to put a game in there that's not going to be able to come out. And from what I read is you can simply unscrew it, put some oil in it, loosen it up. But for $250, I truly believe you should not have to do that. So then we ordered our first top-loading NES system, the top-loader NES, and we got that sent. And the seller from eBay didn't put any kind of bubble wrap or anything like that. It just mailed it right to us in the box, and we plugged it in. The power didn't come on, and before the power didn't come on, the RF adapter for the back of the TV was broken, and so we had to order a new RF adapter. The new RF adapter came in, we plugged it in, and went power on. So we sent that Nintendo back, and then we just ordered another Nintendo top loader, and it has the AV pack, the AV modified on it, and so this will be our 5th Nintendo console in the last 3 months that we tried to get it to try to get a good, reliable, working console. And so now, if this don't work, we decided to give up and sell our 20 Nintendo games and just buy a Super Nintendo, and then maybe like an emulator, regular NES Nintendo. But however, I have faith that this top loading console is going to be reliable. It's going to have good picture quality. And another thing you have to take into consideration between the Nintendo top loading console and the original toaster VCR Nintendo console is that the top loader console only has the RF hookups, which you screw into the back of the TV, into the antenna TV, and then it don't really get the best sound, and it really don't get the best picture. However, we got a modified one that has the AV hookups in the back, and we paid I think $250 for this system. And so I believe that that you pay for what you pay for what you get what you pay for, right? So if I pay $250, I expect the ultimate NES Nintendo. And so now if I pay $40 for a Nintendo, okay, I expect it to have some problems, So anyway, so we got this one that has an upgraded mod on it for the AV hookups. And so that should be here by Monday. And we're going to do a live unboxing, and I'm going to hook that up. And I really feel positive that this is going to work. However, the 5 Nintendo consoles previous to this, I also felt confident that it was going to work. And 3 of them really had issues. The one we have now, it does work, except for, like I said, the cartridges, when you put the cartridges in and out, when you take the cartridges out, it really feels like it's just going to get stuck in there. So that's the big issue. But the Nintendo that we have works fine. Like, you put the game in there, you might have to mess with the game a few minutes to get it going, but usually the game gets going. And so it works well. But we just want something that's 100% reliable. And we put the game in, push power, it works. You can take the games in and out. It has a good picture quality, and it has good sound, And I understand that the game systems are 40 years old, and so it's going to be some issues. However, if you're willing to pay $250 for an NES, I believe you should be able to get a really nice one that don't have no issues. Now, if you pay $40 or $50 or $70, you should get one that works, but then maybe have a few issues. So And so that's the comparison between a NES Nintendo top loader and the NES original Nintendo. And so Monday we'll be doing a box opening, and I'll hook up the Nintendo top loader. And then I really love doing the live games and stuff. I see it's been getting a lot of views and likes, and a lot of people like to watch gameplay. And so I look forward to doing some more NES live gameplay. Actually, today we're planning on doing Zelda 1 live gameplay for maybe an hour or so as we get back into that. And the games that we played the most on the Nintendo that we like the most so far has been Super Mario Brothers 3 has probably been the top game. And then Mike Tyson's Punch-Out will probably be the second game. And then every other game is a bunch tied for third place. But we got Zelda 1, Zelda 2, and River City Ransom. That's a fun game. Double Dragon 1, 2, and 3. Them are fun. It's a lot of fun games on the Nintendo. And the good thing about it is most of the Nintendo cartridges only cost $5 or $10. And even the most expensive ones like Mike Tyson, that's like $30. So compared to the games today, which is like $70 to $80, it's a little pricey. And then plus another good thing about the original Nintendo is that you don't have to have the internet, you don't have to have an internet connection, and you don't have to pay a monthly service fee like $10 a month just to play your games. So if you was like wanted to be frugal like I am or be a minimalist, a Nintendo console offers a lot of entertainment for a low price, you know, if you can find a good reliable one. Also, we plan on in December, we plan on purchasing a Super Nintendo in December, and then because we kind of want to make our way up from the original Nintendo to the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo 64, and then onwards, and just kind of like go for the past and work our way up. But I don't think we want to go any farther than like a PlayStation 1 or a 2 or a 3. We don't want to have any system where you have to pay a monthly subscription fee for. I think that's just a little bit absurd. And so looking forward to all that. I'm gonna quickly try to cross this walk here. But yeah, so we look forward to doing some live NES video game gameplay. That's been a lot of fun. Also, one last thing before I end this video is that we also are looking into getting a emulator for the console, or I'm sorry, the emulator, a Nintendo emulator for the computer, because they're easier to do live gameplays. And you could do like a picture-in-picture where you're playing Mario, you're playing Zelda, and that's on, you know, a bigger picture on the TV, but then it's also your facial expressions on there, and then you can have your chat on there as well. And so we've been looking into trying to get an emulator for the Nintendo just to make it easier for online gameplay and online videos. I think that's pretty cool, the emulator aspect. And one last thing about the Nintendos that I really enjoy is I like to learn new things. And with the Nintendo, it's a big learning curve, surprisingly enough. I wasn't expecting to learn all the new things about Nintendo. I thought it would be pretty basic and simple of walking into the pawn shop, spending $70, buying the Nintendo, plugging it in and playing. I thought that's all it was to the Nintendo. And yes, I thought that's all it was to the Nintendo. I thought it was a very simple process, but it comes to find out it was about 80 hours of research to be able to buy the Nintendo and get a good Nintendo. And so we came close to having a reliable Nintendo. The one we got now, it does play the games. However, it has the jaws of death. When you put the game in there, it's very hard to get the cartridge out. So besides that, if it didn't have that issue, we'd have a perfectly reliable Nintendo. So we just got one issue, and the seller on eBay said for no charge he could switch us out another Nintendo that doesn't have that problem. However, we already ordered a top-loaded console. So, but anyways, guys, I'm getting to church. About to walk into church now. Hope you guys have a great Sunday, and we'll catch you this afternoon. We're gonna play Zelda 1 on the live stream. So until then, take care. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.